Michael, we're starting a new series in January called The Awakening World. The idea being that it's obviously a very hard time for a lot of people, but everything that is happening is part of the awakening world, and all of us as human beings awakening. And I would love anything you have to say about your perspective about this particular moment in time as the awakening world.
I would definitely be in alignment with what you just said. It is a time of great awakening. And I think that the prophecies from the indigenous cultures have pointed to this particular time in which we are living, in which there is decadence, there's that which is not in cadence with that which is emerging, that no longer serves us, that's falling apart and creating a lot of disturbance in the field for a lot of people. And then there's the emergence of expansion of our paradigm into a global society that's sustained more by compassion and love and generosity and forgiveness. I think we're in the midst of the destruction of one paradigm and the birth of another paradigm. The earth itself, if you look at the earth, Mother Earth, from the shamanistic point of view, a great shamans would say, one of them that we would talk about this just passed a few days ago, Malidoma Some. When the earth spoke to him during his initiation into elderhood, she told him that she had already passed into another phase of consciousness. The frequency was much higher, and that humanity was being invited into a higher frequency. Those that come into it will pass through this phase with very little worry and anxiety and anxiousness and fear. But those that don't will pass through this phase with fear and worry and anxiousness and anxiety, and it will be a very difficult time for them. You see, so from the shamanistic point of view, and the mystical point of view, we're already, the earth is already at a higher frequency, and the field in which we're living is already at a much higher frequency. Some would say another dimension we're living in already. From a scientific point of view, the earth is vibrating at a higher frequency. Over the last 30 years, of which the Schumann resonance has been measured and things of that particular nature, it's at a higher frequency. So that means that certain things will not be sustainable if it's not at that frequency. If you start a business merely for profit and you don't care about what you're creating, you're just doing something just to make money, it's not going to be sustainable, you see. So we're in that dynamic right now. And so it behooves us to encourage folks to have a spiritual practice. Doesn't matter what you call yourself, doesn't matter what religion, just opt out of the dogma of it and come into what they all are leading us to, which is a closer walk with love, a closer walk with resonating with compassion and peace and generosity and forgiveness, all what all religions actually teach. But to not to be religious or to come into high religiosity, but to really embrace the fruitage of the practice, which is a deep spiritual connection with the presence, you see. And that guides you in your thought, your conversation, and your deeds. So yeah, we're in a very volatile period of time, and everything that we're going through is kind of an evolutionary trigger that is pushing some people and pulling other people to another awareness of the cosmology of unity and oneness. See, so what I would say, I was recently on a panel with some good friends, Catherine Woodward Thomas and Marianne Williamson. And as we were exiting, Marianne said, Michael, give us something positive to think about, with all the darkness, with all the stuff that's going on the planet right now. What would you say about it? And I said, listen, the universe is progressive. The universe is the outpicturing of the fundamental order and harmony and beauty and symmetry of the heart mind of the infinite. It's always expanding to reveal more of the infinite nature of the presence. Even if it contracts a little bit, it always expands more, you see. And so it doesn't go backwards. It's always progressive. So with that, when something is out of alignment, when something is not in integrity with the fundamental harmony of the universe, it creates a level of stagnation. So what happens is that stagnation creates a tension. And that tension becomes like a slingshot. As the universe is going forward, the stagnation, it feels like it's a slingshot going like this. And then when there's a release, the energy is released and it creates a kind of a renaissance that very quickly things change, but it changes through the individuals who are doing the spiritual work. Peace does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but it rolls in on the backs and the minds of individuals who are doing the spiritual work. So when that energy is released, it moves through people as creativity, innovativeness, resourcefulness, very fast. And so I think we're being prepared for a renaissance because of all the stagnation that's happening in systems that are systemic with greed, systemic with injustice, systemic with bigotry, systemic with injustice. It's going to happen very rapidly. We're going to enter into a renaissance phase. And it's going to happen, it's not going to be like magic, like God's going to come out of the sky and do anything, because the presence of God needs vehicles, just like electricity needs a light bulb. Electricity is everywhere, but unless it has something to plug into, you don't see it. God's everywhere, but unless people are plugged in and bear witness to it, it doesn't show up. So all of us who are doing spiritual work are going to be the instruments of a great renaissance. And even though it looks dire in many ways on the planet right now, looks dire, you see, because you can use the same laws for negativity, which many people are doing right now. But anything that is against life is not sustainable, because life's not going to work against itself. Eventually, the tension is going to create a slingshot and go, shoo, and that which is not in alignment will not be sustainable. And the new things that are in alignment will grow really, really rapidly fast. And the things that people are railing against won't have any power.
Beautiful. Yes, absolutely. Michael, thank you so much for these many messages and for being such a great inspiration in my life for 30 plus years now. So many people. We were at the Sheridan. I used to come see you downstairs at the Sheridan, man. There were like 20 people on metal folding chairs.
Absolutely. We started in my living room, and then we went to the Santa Monica Bay Women's Club, and then we went to the Miramar Sheridan downstairs, and then we went to the Wedgwood Room, and then we went to the Starlight Ballroom, and then we got those buildings over on Olympic, and then we went to Culver City, and now we're here at the Saban Theater in Beverly Hills. We're just in the midst of, right this moment, in November, going into December, we're celebrating our 35th anniversary.
Wow.
We're just celebrating 35 years of, and we've expanded more than any time in human history of our beginnings. We've expanded more during these past 2 years during the lockdown of healthy people. It's the first time in human history that there's been a lockdown on people who are healthy. It's never happened before. We're during these last couple of years. We've expanded more than any time of our existence.
It's a beautiful reframe. That was another thought that I had when you told the story about how Howard Washington Thurman reframed that experience. And you were so beautiful at reframing how we see things. And that's what you just did. You just gave 2 examples of reframing and seeing it from the bigger perspective, from God's eyes, from the spiritual perspective.
Yeah.
So there's another place I'm imagining that he helped influence that within you, watered that seed.
Absolutely.
Michael, God bless you. Have a very, very happy Holy Day season.
Absolutely. We're going to keep the holy and the holiday.
Absolutely. My big joke, my birthday is Christmas Day.
So
my joke always is, remember the true meaning of Christmas, not the little dude in the manger, not Santa Claus, but Scott's birthday.
Scott, happy appearance today, brother.
Much love. God's blessings. Have a beautiful, beautiful few weeks. Look forward to our next connection.
God bless you.